What's going on, Jerome's? So, in an effort to be fair and balanced, since we came on here after the greasy grimy Green Bay Packers went down against the Niners, they just gave it away now. We have to be on this wall after the Lions allegedly outlasted the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the divisional round 31-23, and it was a pretty decent game, but I feel like the Buccaneers were just on a lower tier than the Lions. I mean, the Lions got to respect what Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell have done. They've assembled a very tough, good football team, and there's a lot of talent there. And offensively, it's like just watching Jared Goff, with the Niners, or not the Niners, the Rams, where remember that Jared Goff got benched for a playoff game for John Wolford. Remember that? Rams versus Seahawks. But you're just waiting for Jared Goff to screw up. But he looks really damn good. I think Ben Johnson has this offense dialed in. Them being indoors on turf is an absolute plus, but we'll see what happens with them in the NFC Championship game out in Santa Clara and that garbage grass. But you got to respect what they've done. They're tough in the trenches, and they're a really good football team. They're an absolutely dynamite football team. But with everything with football teams, it comes down to the fans. Now, I respect the hell out of Lions fans that were longtime OG. Like, they suffered through some really bad football. They wasted the careers of Barry Sanders. They wasted the career of Megatron. I mean, to a degree, they wasted the career of Matthew Stafford. But, I mean, the roar has been restored, and I mean, if you've been through the tough times, it's great. But I feel like there's a segment of bandwagon Lions fans that just sort of came out of the woodwork and are huge douchebags. But I feel like that probably happens with every single fan base. So yeah, it is what it is. But again, respect to the OGs that were putting up with some really bad football. But yeah, as a Vikings fan, it feels like there's a weird segment of the Vikings fan base that's like, I hope the Lions do good. I hope they win a Super Bowl. Why? It's like, maybe part of it is rationalizing, hey, we'd rather have the Lions win the Super Bowl than the Packers, check. Or, hey, if the Lions win the Super Bowl, we could say that we lost to the Super Bowl champion twice. That does not compute. It does not work out, because think of what you're saying. You're saying that you want the Lions, the picture of ineptitude for most of their existence, you want them to win a Super Bowl before the Vikings. No. But, I mean, the Bucs fought the good fight. Mike Evans is an absolute stud, but at the end of the day, it just wasn't enough. And Baker and company, I mean, Baker made some mistakes. I mean, that first interception was a tip. I don't know why Chauncey Gardner-Johnson didn't get a taunting penalty by tossing the ball to Baker, but, And then at the end, I mean, they had a shot, but then Baker remembered that he's Baker. And people are going to make a lot about, hey, how come Bowles didn't take the timeout at the end and make them kick a field goal, maybe get a block, maybe run back. I don't know. Also, yeah, people roasting the Bucs for going for two. No, the math on going for two after you score a touchdown when you're down 14 actually computes, because if you don't get it, you can still go for two. And if you get it, you are in the driver's seat of potentially winning that game. So, I mean, that one does make sense. But, I mean, people wouldn't have questioned if they got it or if they would have properly called DPI, because that corner did not turn around with Mike Evans. But, it is what it is. But accept reality on reality's terms. The Lions have had a hell of a season. Now, do they win the division if Kirk stays healthy? That's a question. But you've seen what can happen if a team is able to stay healthy and is able to not turn the ball over in excruciating spots. But the first NFC Championship game appearance since 1991. They lost to Washington, and Washington went on to win a Super Bowl in the Metrodome. It's so weird. So weird when the Metrodome had a Super Bowl, but Washington beat the Buffalo Bills in that game, and then so this stood out a lot to Vikings fans. Where so really classy sign from a Lions fan. Kneecap, Hawkinson. Other kneecap, Tyler Higbee, hunk out of them, blah, 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 blah. So you're pretty clearly celebrating Kirby Joseph blowing up the knees of Hawkinson and Higbee, respectively. And you could say it's like, well, this is just a check mark for the playoffs. I mean, the Vikings weren't in the playoffs. And when the Lions beat the Vikings, when Hawkinson blew up his knee, it was like with a couple of weeks left in the season. So it's sort of a moot point. Obviously, it's celebrating the injuries. And then what's great is that the official NFL account put this out, pretty much. So not only did the TV telecast show this on the broadcast, but then the official NFL social media account was like, yeah, let's put that out there. Nah. But again, you do have to respect what Brad Holmes has done. I think that he's done an amazing job drafting, and it's just like, I've been a Kwesi defender for a while, but how come we can't bring in draft hauls like this? But the 3 seasons he and Dan Campbell have been there. Penei Sewell, Aleem McNeil in the 3rd round. Onwuzurike's good when he's healthy. Melfanu in the 3rd round. Monter St. Brown in the 4th freaking round. Derek Barnes contributing as well. 2022, Hutch, Jameson Williams. I wonder where he got that pick from. Paschal Kirby Joseph. He who shall not be named. And then also you have Rodriguez all up in there. And then you have Gibbs, Campbell, Laporta, Branch. Now, those 4 are going to be contributors for the future. Campbell had sort of a whatever season, but Gibbs led them in rushing. Laporta led them in receiving. Brian Branch led them in tackles. It's pretty good. And hell, Hendon Hooker could be the future. Broderick Martin in that mix as well. So, I mean, 3 absolute nail-driving drafts. And also James Houston in that mix too. Last year's 6th rounder, getting some sacks. So, I mean, yeah, this is how you build a team. And this is how, I mean, sure, that Stafford trade worked out because Jared Goff ended up here with Ben Johnson. But it is going to be a big test going forward. What the Lions are going to do when they lose Ben Johnson, if and when they do lose Aaron Glenn. So will they be able to reload at coordinator under Dan Campbell? And as you saw this year with the Eagles and Sirianni, it's not that easy. It's not always 100% that it's going to work out. But I guess go Niners. Where again, I understand that some weird Vikings fans are just rooting for the Lions. I don't get it, don't understand it. But I mean. This is not like you're a little dinky conference. You're trying to make waves in the NCAA tournament. No, every single rivalry is Michigan-Ohio State. Do you think Ohio State Buckeye fans were rooting for Michigan in the national title game? No. So, F the Lions, F the Packers, F the Bears too. Sure, why not? And then, because the Bears are going to screw up the number 1 overall pick. Like, do you want the Bears to hit on the number 1 overall pick? You want them to take Caleb Williams, who turns into a Hall of Famer, what he's supposed to be? You want that? No. But I am nervous because the only thing standing between the Lions and a Super Bowl now is Brock Purdy. It's going to be rough now. But again, you do have to respect what the Lions have done. 3 years with Holmes and Campbell. They've got to the NFC title game. They're a complete football team. They play good situational defense. Offensively, especially at home, especially on turf, they can be unstoppable at times. But we'll see what happens. Again, go Brock Purdy. But your thoughts are thoughts. Lions beat the Bucks. Sure. Skull production value.